I could be my crazy, unhinged, out-of-pocket self, and this is home. And I was just not supposed to be there. I don't like that. See that door? You're there. Ew, get me the fuck out. Don't be weird in your video like me. So make sure you're locked in, because it's recruitment season, baby. Hi guys, it's Steph. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm gonna be talking all about sorority recruitment, giving you guys a rundown and just all the information that I wish that I knew prior to rushing. For those who are new, I go to Penn State University. I'm a current junior and I am not gonna name the sorority I'm in just because I don't wanna get, like, I don't know if that's like a liability thing. You can just like stalk my YouTube channel and you'll figure it out pretty easily. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to try to be as non-biased as possible. And I really just want to give you guys raw and authentic advice about sorority recruitment. And yeah, it's going to be kind of a jumble of information, but hopefully you guys can follow along, and I'll try to make this as brief as possible because I could talk about this for literally hours. But let's just go ahead and get started. I have a note on my phone that I've been like adding to for literally over a year, just because like anytime I think of something that might be helpful for new PNMs, I just feel like I need to write it down. So our rush process happens in the spring semester. So that means right when we go back to school in January, we hop right into recruitment and stuff like that. So they changed the whole format this year, so it's not the same as it used to be. But so what we have is we have panel previews first, which is where you just are on your own as a PNM. You are just like watching each sorority's like recruitment video. These videos really don't give you anything about the sorority. Like the way that I ranked my panel preview videos was nothing like I ended up like liking the sororities when I was rushing, if that makes sense. You rank all the videos, one being your favorite, and then the next day, which is Saturday, you hop into philanthropy round. This used to be called values, I think, but they switched it to philanthropy. During these conversations, you're really just getting to know the girls and learning about each sorority's philanthropy. And then after philanthropy, you're gonna rank. And then we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday is sisterhood round, which is like kind of one of the more important rounds. Here you're really just finding your connections again and just figuring out like, okay, I love the sorority, I don't love the sorority. So as the rounds go on, you're gonna rank less and less sororities. So after panel preview, I think you rank all of them, and then after philanthropy, you rank less, and then after sisterhood, you rank even less, and then for prep, you only have 2 left. For prep, you only have 2 parties, so it's not super stressful because at this point, you really know both sororities super well, and it's not something that you should really be worried about. The round is a little bit longer. I think you have like 30-minute conversations, so that could be a little bit scary as a recruiter, but as the PNM, you literally have nothing to worry about. All the pressure's on the recruiter. You literally just have to answer questions and like bullshit and small talk. After prep, you rank your top, your number 1, and then your number 2 is like, okay, I don't love this one as much, but I would be okay at getting them back. And then if you don't get a call from your Pi Chi, that means you got a bid from one of the 2 sororities. If you get a call, you probably got dropped or something happened. At Penn State, bid day is normally the Monday after prep ends, so it's on a Monday, which is really interesting. You open your letter in the Bryce Jordan Center, which is like our big like basketball arena. So that's the rundown. That was very, very long explained, but that is something that's important to note because each school does it differently, but that is just how Penn State's whole recruitment process goes. So now I'm going to dive into some of the advice I have. So I kind of broke this up into 3 categories. So I have before recruitment, during recruitment, and then just like some general notes and tips to leave you guys with. So first off, things you should note before recruitment. I'm sure everyone says this, but you genuinely do want to keep an open mind. I went into the recruitment process not knowing a single thing about sororities. I knew like one sorority that was like quote unquote good. I just honestly suggest going like me and not knowing jack shit about each sorority. Don't do any research and just don't follow what your friends do. For the purpose of this video, we're going to make up a fake sorority. We're going to call it Alpha. If all my friends are like, oh my god, Alpha's a cool girl, this and that, and you don't actually like Alpha and you end up getting a bit to Alpha and being in it, you're gonna be miserable because you don't actually resonate with those girls and you're just doing it for like the name or the title or because all your friends are in it. So I recommend going the rush process absolutely blind. Don't listen to any stereotypes or anything, and really just do your own thing. I know some girls literally don't even tell their friends what they got back. I told everyone what I got back because I'm a loudmouth and I literally filmed it on YouTube, but that's besides the point. If you were hesitant about rushing in general, I know that there's a lot of stereotypes about sorority girls and this and that because of Bama Rush and like the Southern TikTok vibes and all that. That is not at all how rushing in the North is. I can't speak for anyone who goes to a Southern school and how the rush process works down there because I'm scared of it myself and I don't know anything about it because I don't go to a Southern school, obviously. All I can tell you is that in the North, it is not like that. Your sorority does not have to be your entire personality trait. Especially at Penn State, you can put into it what you want to put in and you can get out what you want to get out of it. If you're hesitant about rushing, I always just tell people, go through with it. I didn't see myself as your typical sorority girl and I ended up rushing it and I'm having a good time in it, so I think I definitely 100% would have regretted it if I didn't rush. Register at least, and the worst thing that happens is you start it, you hate it, you drop, or you get in a sorority you don't like, you drop. The worst thing that's gonna happen basically is you're gonna drop and no one's gonna give a fuck, so go Greek. One other thing that we do is for the whole application process, we don't need like letters of rec or like anything like that. I'm pretty sure most sororities don't even take legacies at Penn State, so keep that in mind if your mom's in alpha doesn't mean you're gonna be an alpha. One thing that we do is we make like little personalized videos that you send into like the Penn health system, and then everyone watches your videos. Let me just tell you, obviously, thank God everything worked out, but my video was 110% my downfall. I won't let anyone watch it because I did something so embarrassing in it, and I was like, that's cute and girly, let me submit that. Babes, no, like that's just not it. I don't know who told me, I was not wearing makeup, my hair was a mess, I was going through it, and I just was like, you know what, who cares, let me apply to be in a sorority. And I submitted my video. I don't know, the videos are a whole thing, but just make sure you're proud of your video, make sure you're confident about it, and definitely don't submit anything you'd be embarrassed of now, because that's where I am, and it literally like eats me alive every single day that I think about it. But don't be weird in your video like me. The next thing I want to touch on is like the whole like age requirement when you're rushing. I know so many girls are like, oh, I'm a sophomore, I feel like I shouldn't rush because like the typical freshman is like normally the one who rushes. Don't listen to that. Last year I talked to so many girls during recruitment who were juniors, and they did like the whole 2-and-2 program at Penn State, so they were just coming onto their main campus, and it was not weird at all. I didn't feel like intimidated, or I wasn't like looking down at them because they were a junior or whatever. So if you want to rush as a junior or sophomore, go through with it. If you rush as a freshman and you drop, don't be afraid to rush again. I know so many girls that did like COB, which is like our like fall rush process, like not in the spring. Just don't let your age get in the way of what you decide to do, because I think that's so stupid, because nobody cares. Like no one's gonna know your age at the end of the day, and if they do, who the fuck cares? Another thing that is so important when it comes to rushing is to get your GPA up. I know a bunch of girls who couldn't end up rushing because their GPA wasn't high enough, and that's honestly just like sad to see, because I don't know, I feel like just get your GPA up as much as you can. Try in school super hard, because it would be so sad if like your GPA was like your downfall, because sororities have like GPA requirements and stuff like that. But literally, if you have the GPA just to get in after that semester, have your GPA drop, who cares? Just make sure you have that. I think it's like a 2.5 minimum to even like apply to rush at Penn State, and then some sororities have like a 3.0 minimum like to even get a bid from them. So you definitely just don't want to have chapters drop you just because of your GPA. That'd be so sad. So just try your best to have a high GPA, at least a 2.5. If you can make that work. The last thing I think it's important to know about like the whole like before recruitment process is to figure out your outfits ahead of time. Outfits are so stressful. For what? Like, no offense, as a recruiter, I was not looking at people's outfits unless they had something so sick I was like, holy shit, that's cool. But other than that, like, I didn't care. For my year that I rushed, it was like half on Zoom, so we didn't get a like Penn Health t-shirt. But this year and last year we had, the P&Ms got like a school sponsored like Penn Health t-shirt. It's not the cutest shirt, so just make sure you are like planning out your outfits in advance. And for prep, it's the most formal round. You wear like dresses and stuff. I picked out my dress over winter break because I knew when I go back to school, it's silly week, and then all of a sudden rush comes up and you're like, holy shit, I don't have fits. I know Penn State gives you like a mood board for things you can wear. If you're really struggling, you can look at my recruitment video. It is a little bit outdated because I was a freshman, and like fashion has definitely changed since then. You know, at the end of the day, if you're really struggling, just keep it simple and just wear whatever makes you feel confident. So now let's get into the advice that kind of pertains to like the whole during recruitment process. So first off, do not break dry period. This is something that again could be your downfall. When you're a P&M and a recruiter, you are on a dry period that's very strict. You cannot go out for a couple of weeks. It's really not the end of the world. You don't need to be shaking ass at a frat, because there won't even be that many frats that are throwing, just because all the girls are on dry period and everything. During recruitment, you are so drained and tired that like the last thing you want to do is pop open a drink. The days leading up to recruitment, you definitely just want to prioritize your sleep and everything, and make sure you were eating healthy and fueling your body right. I didn't take this seriously. I like didn't think sleep was going to be an issue for me, but it is so draining rushing. I don't know why, because you're literally just talking, but like you're tired of having the same conversations. Like that is mentally draining, and everyone's like, what's your major? Where are you from? Last year as a recruiter, I was trying to get as much sleep as I could. I feel like I hit the pillow and I was knocked down. I had to wake up like 5 hours later. That was not ideal, but especially as a P&M, it's your first time kind of rushing and everything. You're gonna wanna prioritize sleep and just making sure you are getting your body right for recruitment season. Kind of touching back on what we were talking about earlier, just make sure you're confident in what you're wearing. I personally wore something that made me stand out a little bit. I like hate that I did this, but I wore shoes that I knew would get like, oh my god, those are so cool, because they were different and not everyone had those shoes. I'm not gonna like go into the whole process of like how my sorority like about like giving people bids and stuff like that, but if you're wearing something that helps you stand out, it'll help me as a recruiter like remember you a little bit more, because you're talking to a whole bunch of girls, and I know like me and my like bump group, like we would be there being like, wait, who was that girl? Oh, that one with like this leg bracelet or whatever. And just things like that will help you kind of stand out. So again, just wear what makes you feel confident. Don't change yourself to be someone you're not. But I definitely am someone who like cares a lot about like how I look and like if I'm not liking my outfit, I'm not gonna be in a good mood. I'm gonna be a cunt to the recruiters. So when you were actually having the conversations with the different girls in each chapter, it's sometimes hard to determine like what sororities you like versus what you don't, because as I said, it's kind of the same bullshit over and over and over again. But something that I looked for was the girls that I felt myself around, the girls that I felt like I was having genuine conversations with, kind of the ones that got more deeper than like the surface level, like what's your major, where are you from? Because again, I've said this a million times, I'm a broken record, but like it gets old. Nothing's gonna stand out about that, but if you maybe have something in common with them, that'll help the conversation get deeper. Or if you like resonate with their philanthropy, you can tell like a personal story about that. Things like that just will help you kind of figure out more if you actually are bonding with the girls or if they're just like good at bullshitting small talk. One of the things that helped me pick my sorority was a funny situation. So at prep, when I rushed, I was so torn between the two chapters I was talking to. I walked in one room and I was like, I do not see myself with these girls. I felt like I was kind of acting like someone I wasn't, and I didn't really see myself getting along with them like behind closed doors. And then I went to the chapter that I'm currently in, and I walked in the room by accident. I got there kind of early. I didn't realize there was a line outside, so I literally just opened up the banquet hall, walked right in and sat down at a table. And then I was like, everyone's wearing pink. This is so weird. Like I'm wearing red. Like, is this chapter like known for pink? I walked in the room and I was just not supposed to be there. They were just so sweet about it, and I left and I was not embarrassed at all. If I had done that in the first chapter I was in, I probably would have hysterically sobbed and like cried off all my makeup. I felt so comfortable being in there when I was not supposed to, because everyone was so nice, and like I didn't, like, I think that was my telltale sign, like this is where I'm supposed to be, because I literally was like, I just did something so embarrassing, I did not give a single fuck. This is home. Rushing as a P&M is so scary, like you're so stressed out of your mind, but it really is just like making friends. Like it's like your first week of college, you're like getting to know people, figuring out who you like, who you don't like, things like that. The deeper you get the conversation, the better it's gonna be, because they're gonna remember you more, and you wanna be able to have deep conversations with your future sisters, and if you can't get past like superficial bullshit, like you're not gonna wanna be in that chapter. Another thing I was really good at as a P&M, and something that I looked for when I was a recruiter, is seeing if the girls were like reciprocating questions back. So for example, like as a recruiter, I'd be like, oh, so I don't know, what are some reasons you want to join a sorority? And then I would look and kind of see if the P&M was like, wait, so why did you join a sorority? Or like, how was your rush process? Or things like that. You don't want it to seem like an interview where you're just like, what's your name, Steph? Where are you from? Jersey. What's your major? PR. Like I keep saying this, but you do want to get it deeper than that, because you know, friendships are deep. You don't want it just to be like superficial and gross bullshit of like, what do you like to do? I like to go to the beach and swim and tan in the sun. Like, no, we're not doing that. As a P&M, you literally just have to answer questions and like reciprocate a couple things back and just like sit there and laugh and giggle and smile. But as a recruiter, you are the one having to constantly think of things. It's like you're in the hot seat constantly. Another thing that's like a little tidbit that I looked for as I was a recruiter looking for P&Ms is I would kind of like look for people's ambition. So I would always ask, like, would you like want to be involved in a leadership position? I remember Abby J, my girl, I love her. She's actually my favorite fucking person on this planet. She asked me something about that, and I was like, yeah, like I'm super into social media. I would love to do the social media. And what did I fucking do? The social media. Insert video of my feed. There is so many roles in a sorority. Like we have someone who works on like health and fitness, we have someone who works on social media, we have recruitment, we have like new member educators, we have like ritual people. Like there are so many things. So if they ask you if you want to be involved, just say yes. Like I think if you were to say no, I would be like, okay, drop. Honestly, just gaslight them into thinking you want to be president, because it'll show ambition. This whole process is just all about first impressions, so just make sure you're walking in that room, you're leaving everything beside, and you're giving it your all. You could be having the shittiest day of the year, and you just gotta put that aside and just pretend you're having the best day ever. I'm not saying be a fake person, but just like give it your all. First impressions are everything. So if I walk in, I'm like, hi, welcome to Alpha, and the girl's like, hi, bitch, you're, see that door? You're there. Put in the work. It's not hard. Also, just like learn how to have a conversation. I think this is something that people nowadays like genuinely struggle with. Literally, again, as a P&M, it is so easy. Like looking back, you literally just answering questions. It's not the end of the world. If you say something you didn't mean to say, like it's really never, ever, ever that serious. If the conversation kind of gets awkward and I have nothing to say, my go-to as a recruiter is always to be like, okay, you have any questions? And if you don't have any questions, it's a little awkward, and I'm just kind of sitting there like, do you have any questions for me? Do you have any questions for me? No. So just make sure you have at least one prepared. I think a good one is always like, oh, have you held any leadership positions before? Or like, what made you rush? Or like, how was your rush process? Things like that. A good one is always like, oh, what's the best part about being in Alpha or whatever sorority you're in? And I cannot stress this enough, just don't talk about, I think it's like a 5B, but it's basically don't talk about boys, politics, money, religion, and booze, drinking. Don't bring up drinking. You were gonna pretend to be Virgin Mary, don't do it. Because some girls I know like have gotten like reported or vice versa for talking about things like they shouldn't. Now I'm just gonna move on to some general notes about rushing and stuff like that. So the first thing is, do not make your sorority your personality trait. it's fine to have it in your bio and all that and like wear their merch and be cutesy, but like don't judge other girls because of what chapter they're in, because giving like popular versus like nerd in high school, like at the end of the day, once you graduate college, no one's gonna be like, oh my god, you're an alpha, you're so cool. If anything, if you're being that bitch, I'm like, ew, get me the fuck out. I don't like that. As I said, do your own thing, go with your gut, and just do you. Like that's honestly all I have to say. Just like do you, do your own thing to make sure you're locked in, because it's recruitment season, baby. I know people at Bama talk about this all the time, the whole idea of like a rush bag and things like that. I don't remember if I had one. I think I had like a jacket I wore to all the parties, and like I think I just like honestly threw my shit in like the pockets. But if I had to have a rush bag, here's some of the essentials I would have. I would definitely bring like deodorant, perfume, mouthwash. I rushed 2 years ago, so I had masks on, which was honestly a savior, because my biggest downfall is like I will probably spit in your face by accident because I get so passionate and I speak super fast like this. I get excited and I don't think to like maybe swallow my spit, and I'm sitting there like blabbing and like spitting on the girl, and it's not really cute. So make sure your hygiene's up to par, you know, deodorant, perfume, mouthwash, Listerine strips, gum, everything, please. Also maybe like a snack and like floss or something, because you don't want shit stuck in your teeth. You might have back-to-back parties and like you don't want to be like, you don't want your stomach to be growling while the room's silent and the president's giving a speech about their sob stories. So I think that's all my rush tips. I flew through that. I was talking way too fast, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions, DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is at stepholiver_. I love to answer any of your questions and help you out. And if you meet me during the rush process, say hey. Last year, so many girls I rushed were people who would like watch my rush video, and it honestly makes me feel more comfortable as a recruiter, because I could be my crazy, unhinged, out-of-pocket self and you're not gonna judge me because you watch this video, you understand. I got some plans to go to, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys in my next video. Peace.